Hello, my name is Brooke Bell, and I am a senior planner with the City of Englewood in the Community Development Department. Today I want to talk a little bit about what zoning is and how it applies to the City of Englewood. First, I want to give just a little bit of history on what zoning is. Zoning is the act of creating laws or codes that separate a city into different zone districts. For instance, in the City of Englewood, we have residential zone districts, business zone districts, and industrial districts. We also have a medical district, which is our hospital zone. These zone districts each have certain uses which are allowed in them, and that is defined in the zoning code. In terms of a little bit of history on zoning, zoning's only been around in the US for about 100 years. It is somewhat of a byproduct of the latter part of the Industrial Revolution. In those times, in the early 1900s, people were more concentrated and needed to live closer to their workplaces. So think of a large factory in a large city. And there was a need to separate some of those uses, hence zoning codes. There was also, in the early 1900s, a lot of advances in building technologies. So buildings were getting much taller, especially office buildings and residential buildings, and there was a need to control some of those sizes. The very first zoning code in the United States was in New York City, and that code not only separated some of these uses, but also regulated building height, building massing, and location of the building on the lot, and how much of a lot could be covered by buildings. So typically there are three parts of a zoning code. The first part is a zoning map, which again defines the different portions of the city where certain uses are allowed. The second portion of a zoning code is the written code that talks about what uses are allowed in each zone district, and also what might be some other regulations pertaining to those uses, like maximum square footage, hours of operation, those kinds of things. And then lastly, there is dimensional standards that are in a zoning code. Those are things such as height, lot coverage, setbacks from property lines, etc. Zoning codes can change, but changes to a zoning code have to be made by the same process that the zoning code was created. In the City of Englewood, zoning codes are created and changed by the Planning and Zoning Commission making recommendations to City Council. This is a public process at both the Planning Commission level and the City Council level that involve public hearings and public outreach. Currently, we are doing an assessment of our zoning code, which is called the Unified Development Code, and we are assessing it for what works, what doesn't work, and then in 2021, we'll be doing an entire rewrite of the zoning code. Both of these processes are going to be public, and you can follow along on our website at www.englewoodco.gov/UDC. Thank you for listening, and please participate.